One thing I want to ask you about, because this seems to be what the government is as far as singing from the same song sheet. This is what they're saying, that the legislation as it stood was unworkable. It was too complicated. It had crept away from its core purpose. Now, of course, because they've rushed us through under urgency, we can't examine that at all.
Mm.
What do they mean when they say it's unworkable?
They're just trying to come up with excuses. But I mean, it's so ridiculous because if you look at the cabinet paper that Nicola Willis, as the Minister for Public Services, took last year to cabinet, and that's publicly available. So this was, I don't know, in the first half of last year in 2024, when she was still the Minister for Public Services. She took a cabinet paper called Pay Equity Reset. And in it, in the first few, like in the executive summary, right up front, it's like, look, there's problems with this regime because it's costing us too much. That's what it's, I don't have a printout with me here. I had it in the house and I referred to it and read some bits from it in my third reading speech. But it's just right there in black and white. The problems with the regime from their point of view is that it was resulting in people in these female-dominated professions getting too much pay from the government's point of view because they're the ones who have.
Okay. Wow.
That's it.
Oh, that's it. Okay, cool. Because I saw
landlords were having to pay too much tax, so we can't pay the nurses and the wives and the teachers more because we've got to give that money back to the landlords who are just sitting on those assets, or highly leveraged and making more money off it. And also their big thing about bringing down interest rates, by crashing the economy, which also increases unemployment amongst the most vulnerable people. And then you kick those people off benefits, make it harder for them to access social services so that you can keep wages low and people are desperate. So you're benefiting the employers, but also you try to bring down interest rates by crashing the economy. And who does that help? The highly leveraged property investors.
Yeah. And this is the thing we've been saying here again and again and again. Like, we're going to talk about Christopher Luxon, his pre-budget speech today, who said we're living beyond our means. The means is an arbitrary line that the government decides to draw across for how much money there is. I mean, like, I would suggest to Mr. Luxon, if he didn't take out $14 billion of tax cuts and $3 billion of landlords reimbursements and $200 million back to the tobacco industries, would we then be living within our means? I suspect the answer is yes. But because they've given all that money back or away or refunded or reimbursed, whatever word you want to use, now we don't have enough money to live within our means. It doesn't much sound like the party of business to me.
Yeah, and ironically, no, it's the party of the
monkey
property
business
class. You know what I mean? Like, it's the party of the rentiers, the people who inherited the land and who own the corporations. It's the, you know what I mean? It's the ones who are, Anyway, so I think that it's just very, very clear who they stand for. And the irony is that, if you pay these women more, because they're mainly on low to middle income ranges, and if you paid them what they were deserve, and that's what the process was set out to figure out, you can't use you have to use other professions, because that's the whole point, is that the profession has been undervalued. So you're looking to other professions, you're looking at the education levels, the responsibility levels, the level of risk, the kind of skills that people need. And that's what they're using to determine whether something's undervalued or not. And in the case of the care and support workers, they found they were earning 20% less than they should have been. So 10, 20, 30% less than they should be. But if you paid them properly, then that would flow through to more GST and more PAYE and probably less public costs in some areas, right? Because if we had properly remunerated teachers and nurses and midwives, then there'd be less strain and stress in the health system, in the education system, and we get better outcomes. That's how we get a more productive society. We don't get a more productive society by giving more money to the people just sitting on property and charging rents.